Check. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. All right, here we go. Now it's fine. All right. What I was about to say was, uh, is that I'll wait for the chat room to catch up because, yeah, apparently the transition from one page to another throws a monkey wrench in the entire setup. What I was about to say was, interestingly enough, that for whatever reason I was getting the show going, and then I got one of those blue screens of death you only get on a PC. I don't understand, and I'm speeding as fast as I can towards a version of the show. We run off the Mac over there, but until that moment is possible, because of the software that's only PC in some cases, because streamers are all gamers and vice versa. Sometimes stuff goes sideways. Just decides to, jerk the wheel into the cornfield, as it were. And at this point, it's happened so many times, I don't care. And that's where I was about to say, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My happiness is not, I repeat, not circumstance dependent. That's right. Everything around me doesn't have to be going right or even marginally close to right for me to feel that it's that things are good. It's simply I don't require that. And maybe it's because so many times in my life I didn't really have a choice about my situation, and it was brutally, unquestionably, if I told you the whole story, you'd go, "Dear God, man, I'm getting trauma just listening to you," kind of shitty, that you'd go, "Oh yeah, I can see that." You have a choice in that situation to either set a standard for what you need to have happen for you to be happy, or you can just go, "There's always stuff to be happy about, in spite of whatever's going on." Just there. Anyways, hi, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Today is Giving Tuesday. And I'm sure many of you have a charity that you give to or that you think about, and I would like to, if I may, right out of the gate, mention a couple that I particularly like. And if you don't have one, perhaps you might, slide by and throw them some love. The first one is obviously Wild Horse Ranch Rescue in Arizona. They save wild horses, not just that are being ran off the land by the Ammon Bundys of the world, but also former police and military horses that are going to be turned into dog food. So not good. So they're great, and they do lovely work. And of course, caring for a horse for its entire life is a very expensive prospect. And a lot of people get tired of having their horse, and then they just turn them loose because they're assholes. So Wild Horse Ranch Rescue takes care of them, and they're lovely people, and that's just a regular thing. And if it occurs to you and you'd like horses too, they're a good place to start. The other one, of course, is our dear friends over at the charity that Summer and I just did an event for, Hearts Alive Village, Las Vegas, which is HAVLV, which sounds like a disease cats get, but it's it's a mother and daughter started this thing, and they basically sat down and went, we could have the perfect animal charity in Vegas where we are. What would be the checklist? And they've hit all 10. They have a veterinary clinic, and they provide food for people who might have to throw their cat or their dog out because they can't afford to feed them. So they give people free pet food to make sure that they don't do that. If needy families can also have their pets healthy and happy during transitional phases when they may not have enough moolah in the bank to feed them properly. That's always there. They also do TNR, which is trap, neuter, release. And that lowers the number of like kittens and cats and dogs and whatnot that are out running around. So it's pretty great. Georgina donates to the Orangutan Project, which, just in case some of you are wondering, has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Just saying. Some people believe that, but it's not the case. Not at all. Just throwing that out there. All right. And some people are still joining us and realize there's no sound early in the video. You'll catch up. Shriners, also fantastic, and St. Jude's. Lovely, lovely, lovely. But again, a lot of people have, different options. Thank you, Darlene. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Like the stream right away. That also boosts us in the algorithm. Lets people who aren't subscribed know we're on, and it pops up on their screen like, hey, you like this show? Here it's on. So if you hit that like right now, it helps as we go. There we go. And Andrea, thank you for that. Putting that in there into the chat room for people to reach out to. Yes, World Central Kitchen is great. So good all around. Now, let's just dive in because there's so much to cover. I don't even know if we're gonna have the mental capacity, the dim-wittedness in dealing with this horse shit to actually, where is it? Here it is. If I may, take it away, Harriet. Thanks so much, Hal. Okay, it's Giving Tuesday, and as a gift to you from the people of Wyoming, I want you to recognize this short little moment that we're going to share with one of my favorite people who may also be my alter ego. This fella right here. There he is, George Santos. Many people have said, Harriet, you're the replacement for Liz Cheney. You're the new senator from Wyoming. And we've never seen you and George Santos in the same room together. Well, here I am, and here he is. And yes, he's on tape, and we might be the same person. But it's 100%, 20%, 50%. It's 2 to the second degree of X that I may or may not be also George Santos. It could be that this is the only way I could find to serve the American people in 2 capacities at once. But we'll see.
Can I get your reaction to leadership not whipping against you in this vote? Mr. Emmer said that his team will not be whipping against.
Look.
And by the way, I gotta say, I do not know what I was thinking wearing that jacket. I got it all backwards. I was like, no, it's the other way around, numbskull. Listen up. Red tie, blue jacket. Not blue tie, red jacket. What the hell?
You all want a soundbite. This is the...
Y'all? Wait a minute. Isn't he from fucking New York? Excuse me. I only say y'all when I'm doing my Wyoming lady persona. I am not doing... You don't say y'all when you're playing the guy from the habitual liar from New York, stupid. You don't say y'all, you say yo. Ugh.
3rd time we're going through this. I don't care. I was sent here by the people of the 3rd District of New York.
Well, someone was, and I don't know whether that person, in what capacity they resemble or do not resemble the kind of person that you have been pretending to be. I mean, I've been it's hard to even say. But, yeah. Go for it.
I represent them, not the political class in Washington, D.C. If they want to send me home, if they think this was a fair process, if they think this is how it should be done.
It is. And by the way, fabulous makeup job. Absolutely spot goddamn on. I have to say, I'm not always great with foundation, and let's be completely frank, I go way too far with the blush sometimes. But in this particular case, I'm fairly close to this is fine.
And if they're confident that this is a constitutional way of doing it, God bless their hearts.
Is it inevitable it happens?
God bless their hearts. Also, I'm really sorry the audio is low on this one, but it's in mono, which is insofar as I know from my scientific experience with ivermectin and fruit pectin, which both are equally effective in curing and treating diseases of all sorts. What was I saying? Shit.
Have you spoken to your colleagues to get their support?
I'm sorry?
Have you spoken to your colleagues to get their support?
No,
He doesn't have any colleagues.
I've never done it. This is the 3rd time we've gone through this. I didn't do it the first time. I didn't do it the second time. Not going to do it the 3rd time.
Why
It's
not
just
whip some votes? Why not ask people?
It's not a good use of my time. Do you know what's a good use of all of our time? Is
I would say reapplying, maybe giving another, maybe going, hey, am I a little too powdery? Maybe, you know what would be a good use of your time? Sitting down with someone, maybe at Macy's, sit down at the makeup counter, perhaps, and then go, am I overdoing it a bit? Spoiler alert, yes.
fixing the massive inflation in this country, is fixing the issues we have in our border. I went to San Diego last week. It is
San Diego. You went to the border, so border experience. You went to the most secure land spot in the entire country. You went to San Diego. I had no idea International Mr. Leather was doing San Diego this year. I had thought, because they asked me to be a judge twice, not because I know good from bad, but because I'm just generally very judgmental.
terrible, terrible.
Yes, I agree. San Diego is terrible. It's terrible. I mean, what are you going to do? Republican-run city.
That's what we should be putting our energy on, not on censuring one another, expelling one another, witch
Yes, one another. And by one another, he means kind of just him in general.
hunts against the political class. Nobody cares.
They kind of do, though. You're kind of fascinating. I gotta say, I can't stop. I'm very fascinated by the whole thing. I honest to God, like, you are my political tabloid there, son. That's right.
If this building, if this city put the effort to fixing our country the same way that they put on expelling me, we'd be in a better place.
Yeah, it didn't really require that much effort, though. I mean, I gotta say, it's pretty much like 2 forms and a vote. If, as a matter of fact, if solving the issues of this country was as easy as expelling you, holy shit, we could have put a bow on the government 50 years ago.
But this place is littered in political theater, and the American people are the ones paying the price.
You can't, I gotta say, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say, if indeed you're gonna say political theater, don't be wearing all foundation, no contour. I'm just saying, it's a mistake in general. You look like you just walked off stage from a local high school production of Pippin.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was fascinating. I learned so much, and yet I'm still lost. Thanks, everybody. That was completely unnecessary. Now, we will go, if I may, let me find this. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, by the way, you're watching House Parks Megaworldwide because you're a classy human being, and I appreciate you. That's why you're watching. That's the kind of person you are. And it's fantastic. And I know what you're saying. Hal, does it ever get exhausting being so right all the time? And I got to say, yeah. But I want you to know I get plenty of sleep in fits and starts sometimes. And obviously with the caveat that one of my cats is a ball stepper and the other one purrs me awake every morning and needs to be fed. So no matter what time I went to bed, always somewhere in the area of 4:48 to 5:12 in the morning. Here comes Chip. So, but in general, I do get enough rest considering how much exhausting shit I am dealing with most of the time. And one of the things that kept coming up was this whole like Hunter Biden laptop, blah blah blah, and they're never going to touch all this and da da da. Okay, yawn, the fucking yawn. My favorite bit out of all this is that since the worm has turned and Hunter Biden has decided to go on the offensive with this shit because they have a winning case against John Paul McIsaac, where his only way out will be to admit that he was lying from the beginning, and Rudy Giuliani, same thing, and Donald Trump to some degree because he was directing Rudy Giuliani to go, get some of this hacked material and shit from Russians in Ukraine and in Italy, was that he was subpoenaed by Comer and that crowd, and they were they want to depose him on December 13th, and he said, "Nah, I'll just how about I just testify in public?" And that just threw a fucking monkey wrench into their whole argument. And this is God. This is the line. This is on Newsmax. They want to turn Hunter's testimony into Trump circus. Jason Miller, who, by the way, has just been accused of the R word by AJ Delgado, who was carrying his child and I believe has his child, and which explains why they don't believe in an exception in certain cases for abortion, and who also slipped the abortion drug into the smoothie of a stripper he got pregnant in an attempt to make her to forcibly abort a child that she was pregnant with of his, which is ferociously disgusting beyond measure. And meanwhile, Christina Bobb also, it's really hard not to do Andrew Dice Clay jokes about her name. Now, the idea is that they want that now that Hunter wants to testify in public and not behind closed doors in a deposition where they can selectively leak out tidbits or direct the conversation when they have a questioning, when he does go out and testify in public, they can, limit it to, because there's a time limit for that testimony when it's live that doesn't exist necessarily for the deposition, right? So, anyways, awesome. I don't know if any heard about Steph read CSL's tweet on air about the sexy liberal pay-per-view. Oh, that's awesome. You guys. All right, so here we go. This is them dealing with this, and it's, yeah.
As we saw with President Trump when he took this.
Also, that's Jason Miller. He's still an advisor to Trump. He's still after. I mean, I don't even think we even have to say alleged about this horse shit now. He definitely tried to dose this woman. But here we go.
Stand a few weeks back, he was able to point out how this has completely been weaponized and politicized by Letitia.
No, he can bring it up. That's not pointing it out. Can I make a distinction with a difference right now? Pointing at something and making an accusation or an assertion or something is not pointing out something. It's simply making your point, but it's not pointing it out. Pointing it out means that
no one sees something, you point at it, and everybody suddenly sees it. The root of that phrase is the idea that something is self-evident, and you point it out, and you're the person who discovered that thing. It's not the phrase you use when you're just bullshitting.
To James, and we see there's heavy Democrat activity that's up there right next to the judge, someone who's participating in Democrat campaign events during the actual trial and during the run-up to this. And so that, I think...
Oh, by the way, that's his clerk. That's the continuing bullshit about the clerk. The clerk apparently, the big thing that, in case you don't know, the big conspiracy that she's engaging in that is helping Democrats and hurting Republicans is that whenever one of Trump's witnesses lies on the stand, her job is to go, that's not what he said in the deposition. She follows along on the questions with the deposition, and then during breaks or whatever, she'll go, or in the middle of the testimony, she'll go, you wanted me to point out that this guy is ragingly full of shit. And here's where he's ragingly full of shit. In case you want to check the full of shit box, this would be a good time to do that. That's what they get mad about. And it's interesting that if they weren't so full of shit, the clerk wouldn't have anything to do. She'd be sitting there real quiet.
Needs to be raised and elevated for people to take a look at. But
no, it doesn't. You want it just enough to pass the horizon they can't see, so they can just assume shit that's in her head. That's not pointing out anything. Her referencing a document in court. I would like to remind everyone, and this clerk shit, he's gotten in trouble. It's the root of the gag order. The judge has gotten angry about this, and there's something very distinct that I need to point out about how full of shit she is, how full of shit he is, how full of shit Jason Miller is, and certainly how absolutely jam-packed like a sardine can of turds this guy is full of shit, in that they never point out something that the clerk has done, pointed out to the judge that affected what he said in court, where he ruled or asked a question or rehashed something that was wrong. They have never pointed out. She leaned over and she pointed this out, and then he brought up a point and we knocked it down because that was wrong. Not once, not ever, won't do it. Every single time that they have bitched about this clerk, it is because she has pointed out that they are lying, or that their expert is lying, or that they're citing some bullshit that they just are making up on the stand, that's just fabricated. And so there is not a single moment they can point to in the trial, and they would be allowed to do it if she had. The judge struck down what we said right after she said this, and we think this is from her because he didn't say anything about this until she whispered in his ear, and then he pointed this out, and then we showed him right here on this piece of paper that wasn't the case. They've never said anything even remotely close to that. And they won't. It'll never happen. Just saying. Even in the appeals process, they will not bring up something the clerk did in collaboration with the judge that got them some ruling that they didn't like. Because no matter what the clerk feeds him as far as information or details, his judgment is his judgment. And the appeals court will react to his judgment.
As we saw when President Trump was up there before, he was able to bring a lot of sunlight and shine some real attention onto the way this has been twisted and manipulated against him.
Yeah, sunlight. That's the I guess that's the code word that Jason Miller gives for like Trump's verbal spray farts. Sunlight, get the fuck out of here.
Christina, your reaction to that as well, why this is important, and also to the
Look at that. Christina almost has a bob. She's had her hair cut. Hard ends. Hard ends that's a big deal. I happen to believe that, as far as male-female hairdos go, if you're going to have long hair as a guy, you should have a back taper. You should have a point. Your hair should come to a point down your spine when it's hanging naturally. That's just style-wise the way I go. If you're going to have a hard slice, that's just that's the ladies do. That's fine for the most part. Again, you can play with these all you want, but that's a generalized rule. It'll keep you from being misgendered, which happens to me all the time. Oh my God, how many times my son and I both got misgendered in the airports is hilarious because we both have long hair. Good times. Anyways, so Christina, if she just, what do you think? 3 more inches off the bottom, she'd actually have a bob. Is that too much? Do you think she ever, or I mean, more than that? Yeah, probably she'd have to 6 inches. She'd get at least a half jawline bob.
DC case where they want some more information here, and that could go to appeal. Break that down for us with your legal expertise,
your legal expertise,
please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's as far as the DC case goes.
All legal expertise aside, and this is again coming from a guy whose mic was muted for no fault of his own at the beginning of the broadcast, but you notice that little lavalier on her neck? Yeah, that's not on. This is the sound from the camera that we're hearing. That's the sound that's in the actual camera in front of her.
I think it's quite interesting that they're not allowing the defense to see what documents.
Unless, of course, she's in Pastor Jeffers' closet, which is also possible.
The government found in their investigation, they're selectively picking and choosing what the defense is allowed to see. And that's just not how criminal law works. That's not the way the defense is supposed to work. A defense is supposed to have.
Hold on. What? Let me see this. Say that again. There was a skip in there.
Break that down for us with your legal expertise, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's as far as the DC case goes.
By the way, you're not having a stroke or anything. Newsmax doesn't give a rat fuck what Christina Bobb is saying right now. They're just happy to show Trump's grumpy fucking face. But important for viewers, Newsmax has shows. Rob Schitt and Greta, obviously Van Susteren, not Thunberg. Bowling for shit. And then Greg Kelly with an exclamation point, live from the bus.
I think it's quite interesting that they're not allowing the defense to see what documents the government found in their investigation. They're selectively picking and choosing what the defense is allowed to see. And that's
okay, asshole. They're your documents. They're your documents. They can enter, they show you the ones that they're planning on entering into as evidence. And then you guys bring your fucking Don Jr. and Eric and Trump himself and whoever the fuck and Weisselberg and Stinkelberg and Shemp Trump and everybody, and you throw them on the fucking stand, and then they say something that somebody on the prosecutor's team goes, what the fuck? And then they go and check something out. All right, we got a document that shows how full of shit they are. The same thing the clerk is doing. They make statements. All the documents are theirs. And the I think in the DC case, oddly enough, the documents are documents that Trump had for over a year. And what they're hoping is that they'll show, a document about something that Trump wanted information on, like the Iran attack plan. If Iran attacks Israel, what our response would be. That's what he dangled in front of Mark Meadows' biographers. Remember all that? Okay. What they want to do, what Christina Bobb wants to do is about other documents related to that are in that file. Because it wasn't just the page he showed them or the first 2 pages. There's other pages. Is show him other pages from it and ask him if he recognizes it. To it, he will say no. And then they'll make the case that he's never seen these before and they were injected into the stack by the government because he hasn't a chance to review them again. And the reason he can't review them again is because they're classified fucking documents and you don't get another bite at the apple. It's like, can I spend the money from the bank that I robbed to prove it's real money? I need to go to a store and spend that money and buy something and keep it and use it or eat it and shit it out or whatever. I have to have those things. Otherwise, I don't believe that's real money that you're showing me that I actually stole from the bank. That's what they're trying to do.
That's just not how criminal law works. That's not.
Yeah, but again, if you took something you don't have the right to even fucking see.
Not the way the defense is supposed to work. A defense is supposed to have meaningful access to the same information.
You do. You can go to a SCIF And if you're anybody on the legal team can't get clearance for it, some members who can go to the SCIF, check on the documents and come back to the team and go, that one's real. That's real. That's real. I didn't see that one. I can go back and look and see if we can find that one. That's it. That's what they have to do. They have a little conduit that they can send to the SCIF, and they can, what's the phrase I'm looking for? They can fuck right off.
That the government was able to look at for their own investigation.
Of the shit you stole. God damn.
As far as New York goes, I think Jason's exactly right. I think President Trump is his own best ally. He's his.
Yeah, well, he is a lonely, friendless man. Sure. Yeah. It's you and me, penis. Where are you? I haven't seen you in years, but I know you're down there somewhere. Fairly useless these days, but
Own best advocate, and he is very.
Well, all right. That's more about the quality of lawyers he has, though. If you're one of his lawyers, you don't want Donald Trump saying that he's his own best advocate. Stupid.
Very good about letting the American people know what he thinks and what he sees, and the way things happened in his case in New York. And I think he's the best one to tell that story.
He totally is. He's just a.
Here I am like an idiot.
Yeah, just nobody does it better.
Excellent. Well, I want to get both of your reaction to the big breaking news story we learned today. Hunter Biden, well, he will testify. His lawyers sending a letter saying, yeah, we'll go in front of the House Oversight Committee, but we want it public. James Comer had wanted a closed-door transcribed interview, sort of a deposition style.
Sort of a deposition style.
But Hunter's attorneys write in part, basically they're saying, we've seen your closed-door sessions to manipulate, distort the...
No, we've seen you use closed-door sessions. It's not important.
Facts and misinform the public. We therefore propose opening the door. And James Comer pushing back. He wrote this on X a short time ago, saying Hunter Biden trying to play by his own rules instead of following the rules required.
He's not replying that. They're quoting him and what he said. This is a statement from the Oversight Committee. I could just say the committee posted a statement from James.
By everyone else, our lawfully issued subpoena to Hunter Biden requires him to appear for a deposition December 13th. We expect full cooperation.
Yeah, he will. He really wants to. He would love to. But, he's in line and he doesn't want to jump line. And Jim Jordan is way ahead of him in the line. And until he goes, I mean, it's like being at a deli with a number, now serving D28. I can't go until A4 goes. You know what I mean? It would be a dick move.
What do you think Abby Lowell is up to here by going on the defensive, Jason? Is this a smart move by him? We know that we've seen sort of a change in strategy as of late. He's trying to subpoena former President Trump as well, Hunter is.
Yeah, what you're seeing here from the Democrats, and particularly with Abby Lowell, is classic gaslighting.
Classic gaslighting. Yeah. Gaslighting would be that you can somehow have the right to subpoena Hunter Biden and he's in some sort of massive violation of Congress if he doesn't show up, while serving on the committee is a guy who has not shown up for his subpoena from years ago. That's not what gaslighting means, fuckwad. Gaslighting is kind of like trying to make your partner feel crazy when she starts to feel sick after she has a smoothie, and you're like, it's probably, and you start asking her about, is she allergic to fruit? Maybe she's allergic to strawberries or something like that. Maybe that's it. And then she realizes you've tried to abort her fetus. That would be closer to gaslighting.
Attacks that they're putting forward that they want people to pick up on are the exact same things that they do. Take a look at the way that they ran a very biased and one-sided J6 committee. But
what? They're not running this committee. The Republicans are running the committee. And all right.
Here's the reason why the Democrats want a public hearing with regard.
Okay, what's the reason? I think it's because they're not afraid to speak openly in front of other people?
Regard to Hunter, because they want to turn it into a circus.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's kind of funny that you say that. considering my where is it, that cool picture I made? Where is it? Let's see. It's in the images, because I made this today, and I was very proud of it. Let's see. Where is this? It's the yeah, this one right here. This guy. I was very proud of that one. Move this down a little bit on the thing. Hold on. Where'd it go? Yeah. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that would be the circus one. I also made a bunch of other ones that are quite disturbing, I have to say. I was fucking around quite a bit with I will show them in the coming days. Trump as a clown, that I've made a couple of them, and I got to say they're a little creepier than I was shooting for. It's as if AI is trying to scare the living fuck out of everybody. So yeah, the hands are too big. It's true. I mean, it's AI. They're trying to make them normal.
They want to try to attack and try to deflect off into different topics and try to make it about attacking President Trump, for example, and not getting to the bottom of Hunter Biden.
I see. So the guys, he'll be under oath. Republicans can't ask questions.
Two big things with regard to Hunter.
Well, he would have to, if he's guilty of something, he'd have to plead the fifth in public. Yeah. If he's guilty of something, he would have to plead the fifth in public. You guys could have that on tape in front of everybody, and you're passing it up. Why?
It's the FARA, the way that Hunter Biden is alleged to have taken in foreign money. And then secondly, how that was routed to Joe and the rest of the Biden family. Those are the things that we really need to hear from.
Yeah, they can ask him that question in public. And he can tell you that in the CEFC deal, the reason it fell apart is because the company, CEFC, and Yi Jianming, a guy who bought an apartment in a Trump building and never lived a day of his life in it, just gave $5 million to Trump to fill a vacancy that just kept that spot open, clean. I suppose it got a little dusty after a while, just sitting there whenever the heat turned on in the winter, and then it turned off and turned on and turned on. Dust tends to move through the ventilation systems if you don't have something in there. But, during that is that Hunter Biden said that one of the things predicating on the deal is that the CFC had to set up a U.S. subsidiary that would be under U.S. rules. They didn't do it. The deal fell apart. In the shit that they say is from the laptop, which isn't. It's from a hacked phone. Part of the stuff is from a hacked phone, mixed in with other shit that's bullshit. The email that they reference directly on a lot of these shows about CFC, and the WhatsApp message supposedly is about this. It's about either you guys set up this goddamn company or the deal will die and fuck you. We're never doing business again. And guess what happened? They fuck you, and they never did business again.
Right. And the FARA is a charge that is pretty low level. Like, it seems like they could have charged him with that.
Yeah, only saying that because a bunch of Republicans have been busted for it.
Years ago, but we also know Special Counsel Weiss.
Years ago? You mean like during the Trump administration?
He wasn't special counsel then, let a lot of things lapse, Christina, with the IRS. But they're definitely...
Yeah, FARA isn't that way, letting stuff lapse because of tax years. Trump, that's one of the reasons why Trump was fighting his audit, so that he would literally fight past the day of the crime.
Is a strategy here, as Jason just alluded to, because closed doors more of a deposition, where perhaps some say he'd be more forthcoming, and this public...
Yes, he'd be more forthcoming in secret. That's during a transcribed deposition that they are filming.
Testimony doesn't allow maybe James Comer and oversight to do a line of questioning that would actually get to the heart of the matter.
Why not? Comer's running the fucking thing. He could literally set up questioning by their attorneys and Democrat attorneys back and forth, acting as proxies for the members of the committee for a period of time and then a follow-up series of questions. I haven't heard Hunter Biden go, I'll sit for 20 minutes and that's it. Like sounds like he's ready to park all fucking day.
And the truth, which is really what this is about.
It totally is. It's about the truth, guys. It is.
Well, I agree with Jason's assessment. However, I'm also going to hold the Republicans' feet to the fire on this, and they need to be prepared to do it publicly. However it comes out, whether it's behind closed doors or public, they need to be prepared to get answers. The American people are sick of impotent Republicans that create a bunch of memes and have clips to put on social
Shit, and I don't have it. I forgot the popcorn.
media, and we actually need to get some results. So personally, I don't care if it's behind
Oh my God. Where'd they find footage of father and son together, both wearing baseball hats, if I do say so my damn self?
closed doors or if it's out in public. The American people want answers.
Oh,
and
it's horrible.
Republicans
Look at him. It's obviously this is Pizzagate related. Who's going to chuck that kid off the
need to be
balcony?
prepared to give it to them.
What do you think, Jason? People may want to get their popcorn out and watch a public testimony as well from the first son.
Yeah, and look, Christine is exactly right. Republicans have not done as well in many of these hearings because
Both these assholes work for Trump, and he's just mad that these fantasy rhino blockades are stopping the truth from
they
coming
allowed
out.
the Democrats to hijack the entire set of proceedings. We have to get answers on FARA.
Hijack the entire set of proceedings? Oh, I know what you mean. So in the committee, because the Democrats have more convincing arguments and more details on their side, they've hijacked the proceedings by letting Jamie Comer be himself? All right.
We have to get answers on the money that was routed to Joe Biden, Frank Biden, James Biden, all the entire...
Frank Biden? Since when did Frank Biden get? What about Shemp Biden and Curly Biden? I think it's Curly Joe Biden. I think he goes by the whole name.
Biden family. And all of that starts with Hunter, but we have
But it leaves out Frank.
to make sure that we're in control on this. But if the Democrats are in control, you're not going to get any answers. It'll be, as I said before, a circus at best.
Circus at best. Trump wishes. For the record, if it's Comer's fucking committee, how are they going to hijack it? If everybody gets the equal amount of time and he's in control of the fucking gavel and has no compunction whatsoever about letting his side of the aisle just go off and ask as many questions as they want, the fuck? Newsmax. By the way, hi chat room. How you guys doing? Yes, Harpo Hunter must be made to testify. There's no two ways about it. Now let's see what the next piece of. Okay, can I just say, like, our dear friend CSL dug this up, especially in the follow-up, what Roseanne has become in recent months. The third lady of MAGA, third lady. Sorry, I mispronounced that. But before that, she was just making crazy videos on her phone, and here's a little taste of just that. Also, by the way, like and subscribe and give a thumbs up. Not to Roseanne, but to this show. Because, again, it really does help chat room if you do that now. And because it makes me show up in the thing. Anyways.
I guess I'm going to have to leave the country if y'all don't impeach Biden and quick.
This is 2 years ago. Has not left the country yet. As a matter of fact, is now doing a podcast from her house in Hawaii, which is, of course, Obama's home state.
Because I know I won't get a job on these here, in these here 50 states.
In these here 50 states.
I'll be totally unemployable.
Well, I mean, I don't think entirely. I mean, there's entire subculture of the intellectual dork web out there that loves keeping assholes afloat for no particular reason.
If, once President Biden is inaugurated on January 20th, along with Kamala Harris, the soon-to-be
Vice President?
President. We should just cut to the chase. Impeach Kamala Harris.
Right. Okay. This is, but again, I don't know. I think we're going like we should do a. You know what we should do every so often? I'd like to propose a new segment, Prediction Watch, where instead of watching, finding a prediction someone makes right now and following that to see if it pans out, just go back a couple of years, maybe even 3 or 4, and watch a video that some of these assholes put out about how things were gonna go. I mean, God knows we could do plenty just on Trump's bullshit alone about how Biden was going to crash the economy 2 days into office.
Yeah, impeach both of them.
For what? By the way, I haven't been inaugurated yet.
Just getting ahead of the curve a little. But Kamala, I mean,
Why would you impeach her? Because you think she benefited from a cheaty election? Or maybe she has friends in Georgia, huh?
okay,
Yeah? Okay.
I never,
No.
ever did what Kamala did.
Got elected to office multiple times. Was a public servant. What?
To get to the top.
Oh, I see. I guess this is the innuendo portion of this horseshit.
So I think.
What would that be, dummy? Would she have to snuff somebody like it was a fucking gangster, or you're just talking about like blowjobs? Is this the argument we're making? Is this the depth of the political? Of course it is, because we watched this play out. Yes, that's Roseanne Barr.
I'm going to have to talk about that.
Are you? Talk about it. Fire it up.
See, those would be the kind of jokes I would be telling were I allowed to tell any jokes.
That's not actually a joke. That's an innuendo, not a joke. You didn't mean that as a joke. You literally meant she had to blow somebody to get where she is today. That you're not joking. You're gross, but you're not joking.
But I am not
Sane?
allowed because she's our first black woman president.
Vice president, but...
And even though she's from India and all that.
And all that? Yeah, she's half Indian, yeah.
But, their skin is dark, so,
This is great. This is going very well.
I guess, that means African American to the Democrats.
Yeah, we just basically think, I every time I see a person from India, I'm like, my goodness, there's a person from a totally different continent.
So anyway, I loved her cornbread recipe. I about shit in my pants on that one. She left out, her Kamala Harris's down-home cornbread recipe that her family enjoys every Christmas time. I swear to God, I've seen it in a magazine. And she left out 2 of the most, no baking powder or soda. She left them both out.
No baking powder or soda. No baking soda in the cornbread recipe. None? No? Barf.
And, that was making my blood boil, just boil.
Well, I it might be, your diet as well. Maybe you have baking soda / powder poisoning. Hold on. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm looking something up real quick. See if we can find it. Whoops. Why is this page not sliding over? There you go. Do-do-do-doom. Do-do-do-doom. Hold on. Like this. Ba-ba-ba-boom. Making delicious cornbread without baking powder or soda. Man, those fucking people in Memphis, Tennessee, where there may or may not, depending on how much you believe the Elvis movie, be a decent number of black people. Yes. When it comes to baking, baking powder and baking soda are two ingredients that are often overlooked, but can you make cornbread without them? The answer is yes. While baking powder and baking soda can help create a fluffy texture, it's possible to make delicious cornbread without either ingredient. In this article, we'll look at how to make cornbread without baking soda. Can I make it without baking? Yes, you can. Can I use baking soda instead of baking powder in a cake? Yes, you can. Baking powder and soda, good. Homemade cornbread without. Homemade cornbread without baking powder is a savory treat that can be enjoyed anytime. It's surprisingly easy to make without the baking powder, and you can customize it to your taste by adding your favorite ingredients like cheese, chives, or jalapenos. This traditional Southern favorite is made with cornmeal, butter, eggs, and milk. The cornmeal is mixed with the eggs, butter, and milk to form a thick batter. The batter is then poured into a greased pan and baked until golden brown. The result is delicious, slightly sweet and savory cornbread that is sure to be a hit with your family and friends. You can add that, but you don't need it. Hey, there's vegan cornbread with no baking powder. What the shit is happening? This is amazing. It's almost as if there's more it might shock Queen of the White Trash over here that a lot of African American recipes have are based on not having all the ingredients. Yeah. A lot of actually, a bunch of traditional Southern recipes are based on being 2 ingredients short. And considering that Roseanne is 2 ingredients short of a shortbread, you'd think she'd know this.
That's like
making it the way black people make it in Memphis.
Elizabeth Warren pretending to be Native American.
No, I don't remember her ever giving a recipe, her family's recipe for maize bread.
And getting a free ride in the college in place of a Native American woman at the very same time that Native American...
And by the way, Kamala Harris ended up being vice president. Elizabeth Warren did not. You could argue that these two things are wholly different because of how they ended up getting ahead in this particular situation. There were a lot of people that thought Elizabeth Warren would be a great vice president for Joe Biden. I think she'd be terrific. She's a very smart lady. I think she'd be fantastic. But that said, that's how these were absolutely different. Because one is a real controversy that was embarrassing and difficult politically to deal with, and the other one was something you made up in your fucking head.
Women were being murdered.
That's called a tortilla. How Mexicans make that? That's true, Auntie Sarah.
Butchered.
Who were being murdered and butchered?
Time that Native American women were being murdered, butchered.
By
and not even their murders not even investigated in this.
Okay. First of all, it would be easy to get into the controversial aspects of this particular issue, but that would require us to think that she is speaking in good faith and not just spouting some horseshit or some broad strokes nonsense that she heard in an attempt to borrow oppression points from other women to use them to attack Elizabeth fucking Warren.
This country at that same time.
No, not at that same time. For fucking ever, stupid.
They just got no shame.
Yes, not putting baking soda in their cornbread, thinking that the family story that they were Native was true. It's awful. They no shame whatsoever. Now, I appreciate that she went back and she rewatched this video now that she's got a big fancy podcast, and she goes through all of it and goes, wow, I was really full of shit. I should take some of that stuff back. And because oh, she didn't do that. I see. Oh, so she has no shame. I see. All right.
President. And that's why I am going to.
By the way, this is a person who says Joe Biden can't finish a sentence.
Critique President Biden and Vice President Harris every day of their presidency because
you have the freedom to, and they will do nothing to stop you.
I'm an American.
Right.
And that's my job.
Not really. Technically speaking, being a comedian was your job. You've just quit that job, and now you're a QAnon spokesperson.
Is to, be like I've seen the last 4 years, comedians criticize the president.
Yeah, but they use jokes, actually, like actual jokes. I got to say, and by the way, Colbert had a ruptured appendix this week, sending love from me and my chat to him as he's healing and all this process while he's sitting at home watching my live feed, which I know he does sometimes. Hi, Steve. How are you? Ooh, I don't want him. You've already busted a gut. I don't want to do it twice. Yeah. Meanwhile, she's just given up on the comedy part and just gone straight to the bitching.
See? So it's a flip.
It's totally a flip.
And now I'm going to criticize the president because
jokes are satire. They're not technically criticism. They can be from the spirit of criticism, but they are jokes. Their primary role is to be a joke. If you just go straight to the criticism, you can't claim the joke mantle because you used to tell jokes or you might in the future. You know what I mean?
every president deserves to be criticized. Believe
they deserve it.
me, anybody in power
Except Donald Trump, of course.
deserves to be
Okay, well, then great. Then so you had no problem with Donald Trump being criticized.
criticized a lot.
A
There
lot.
is so much to criticize about our new president and our
Yeah, but apparently there's nothing to criticize about Trump. So you're just doing it. By the way, if you'll notice, this is before they've even been sworn in, and she says there's tons of stuff to criticize them for before they've even instituted a policy. At the same time, Trump is still president when she's saying these things,
new vice president.
and she thinks it's wrong that people were telling jokes about him.
Lots.
Amazing. That's quality programming there, kids. I don't know why I put so much time and effort into my show when apparently you can just sit on an old antique bed on dirty sheets and blather into it and get 247,000 views. Now, granted, that's after a couple of years and that kind of stuff, but meanwhile, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this motherfucker's house up for sale? I guess it's still on the market, but he hasn't had any buyers yet. What do you think it is? The smell? That's what I'm going with. Also, everything that Roseanne said in that last video has come true, and she's obviously in jail right now, and she will not get out until Donald Trump pardons her from the socialist free speech crimes that she was found guilty of without even a trial by Kamala Harris and a bunch of people in dark hoods with baby spine juice dripping out of their mouths. Okay, now, have those views of her own, watching her own shit. Now, this is Rudy Giuliani. He's on Rob Shit, which, if you don't know, is a Newsmax show. And I know that because they told us on one of the other clips. But this is I see 2020 every day now, says Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, most people relive their glory days, but it might be, follow me on this, it might be that he sees 2020 every day because he's literally on trial for shit he did in 2020. Just might be, float that idea. Also, yeah, maybe that's why. You think? Possibly? All right, here we go.
Governor Kathy Hochul.
By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. You're lovely people. I know you've got it in you. Just give a thumbs up. Just let them know we're here. Let them know we're here. Come on. And they'll see the thing come up and it'll say live in the corner. And then, yeah, it'll attract some trolls, but they need a break from just listening to Trump say the same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? They could come here and put their feet up and just be just rest their bigot muscle. Ugh.
Signaling to these thugs that she intends to do nothing about it, vetoing a bipartisan bill last week that would have created a task force to combat organized theft. She claimed that adopting the proposal would have cost the state $35 million, money that wasn't allotted in the most recent budget. So stopping a problem that costs $4.4 billion is not worth $35 million.
Well, the police force within the city, I mean, this would be the governor pressuring New York to actually do it there because they have an organized crime task force. They don't need another one. The idea is Hochul is trying to pressure them into doing this. I don't know why we're going to Giuliani other than that he's the guy who let the Italian mob run things until he got a better offer from the Russians and the Chinese.
And now she actually is pretending to care about spending. When you expand the organized crime out to the entire country, that same study revealing stores lost $112 billion to retail theft in 2022. $112 billion was stolen by these heathens that we see running into stores.
Real quick. Let me show you something real quick. Let's see. There you go. Let's go to December 2022. Sorry. Give me that. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go to here. Whoops. I don't know why this page is being slow. Pop up, silly. Come on now. Oh, I'm trying to get a. It does not like this whole thing. Hold on. There we go. No, get back out of here. I'm trying to find the chart of retail sales in trading economics. YouTube trading economics. Let's see. Strong retail sales, robust U.S. growth. In dollars. Let's do this. Let's see. Sorry. In the okay, so that's the one thing. Okay, and then I want to find this other. How did what retail sales? There you go. Hold on, you asshole! Stop it. Go forward. Yeah. All right. I have to show you this. Okay, here we go. This is. I don't know why this page is being all weird, but we'll look at it here. So, what do you think the global retail market for sales in U.S. dollars is? Like the use of U.S. dollars in circulation in the world in 2022. Ballpark number. Anybody want to? And this is 61% rise, largest increase. There's a lot. Again, anybody? I'm just going to throw it up there. Just give me a flat number. Something. Oh, it's Hochul? What did I say? Never mind. Something. Easy, pretty close. You Googled it, didn't you? Or you're just very smart, which is also a possibility. 27 trillion US dollars. Yeah. 27 trillion, which is like a 5% rise, 5.7% rise over 2021. 27 trillion US dollars in retail sales alone. This isn't just like holdings and in real estate and what buildings are worth. $27 trillion. And many of you know that I've talked about you talk about companies like Goldman Sachs and why they're so powerful and why they matter. $5 trillion worth of transactions goes through Goldman Sachs every day, every 24 hours. Meanwhile, inside the U.S., just us alone, and I tried to click on this, but it will, like, the page doesn't come up. It gets all wonky. U.S. retail sales top $6.523 billion. That's $6 trillion. Up from $5 6.5 trillion in 2020 and 6.522 in 2021. 6.523 trillion with a T in the United States. Trillion with a T. Fucking trillion. Now, Rob, tell us again, real quick, buddy, how much oh, there you go. Stores lost $112 billion to retail theft in 2022. Projections indicate shoplifting could cost retailers over $140 billion in 2025. Retailers across the board. Now, for certain stores, they get hit worse than others, and you got to do something about it. This idea that organized groups are doing it because they're hungry, or they're disenfranchised, or they're just, stealing because they need a crust of bread, like they're in a Disney film. Piss off. If these are organized groups, they make acceptable losses for some. They will shut down stores in poor areas. That's the main problem with them. But let's understand that how much must be moving for this to be the full across all retailers, from smash and grab giant groups doing stuff to single people pocketing phones or whatever the fuck and walking out of places or doing whatever they're doing. 112 billion in 2022. Big number? Yeah. Are things more expensive and that's partly why? Yeah. Is it if you gave number of goods compared to the cost, with the cost ratio of the things being stolen versus the things, like the one-to-one things, like nobody's stealing fucking, you could tell it isn't a hunger-based thing because people aren't stealing bananas and driving up a cost like this. They're not stealing fruit or even meat or cheese, eggs, blah, blah, blah. They're stealing electronics and phones and cosmetics and shit like that, which is expensive and comes in small packages. So, but let's remember that if we can. $27 trillion worldwide, $6 trillion just in this year alone. So over $6 trillion. And this is the loss from retail theft.
2022, $112 billion was stolen by these heathens that we see running in the stores and running out.
No, I would say whatever the overage is, these heathens you're talking about, where these cities are seeing spikes in them, though that's a spike in New York and that's a spike in Los Angeles because these are the organized areas. That only creates a rise of maybe 5% in the overall growth of this. It's why the projection that you saw a moment ago, this right here, goes from 112 to 140 and not from 112 to 224. If you had a 50% or 60% rise on the regular, you wouldn't say that number is going to turn into 140 over time. Again, places with more stores, we'll see a rise in the volume of it across a bunch of shit. Right. Oh, yeah, and porch pirates are a big thing, like people stealing packages. That's included in this as well.
That same study revealing stores lost $112 billion to retail theft in 2022. $112 billion was stolen.
That poor store. Remember that store? I don't even know how. It was a little corner store, wasn't it? That store, yeah, it was that store and the one next door. Those two stores lost $112 billion.
By these heathens that we see running into stores and running out.
Hooligans.
Out. And since mid-2019, New York City saw a 64% increase in reported shoplifting. LA saw a 61% increase. Those are the two worst, according to the Council on Criminal Justice.
Those are the two worst. So every place else is less than that. It still hasn't amounted to nationwide more than 5% growth.
Former Mayor Rudy.
Which means in red states and in redneck areas, there's a lot of kleptomania. It's pretty bad.
Giuliani cleaned up New York City back in the 1990s, made it a world
on behalf of the Russians and the Chinese mob.
Class destination and the world's safest big city. We can't thank him enough for that. What is your message, sir, to Kathy Hochul and the leaders of New York?
Mounting 50 cals on every CVS on the corner.
I think this is a very, very unique, strange thing I'm going to suggest.
Unlike everything else, Maybe we should fart COVID on all of them. That seems to have rid me of some people in my life that I didn't like hanging out with. I just kind of one cheek sneaked them, and they caught caught the pandemic right in the side grill.
So I hope you don't think I'm crazy.
We're already there. You're on Rob's shit show.
You know how you could stop this? You could arrest them.
Yeah.
And you could put them in jail.
They do.
Yeah.
And you could keep them there.
Yeah, not for very long. There's still again, even in these organized crime groups, you're talking about people who, in many cases, who are drug addicts, who are paid in drugs or in money that they use to buy drugs to do these smash and grabs in larger groups of people. And then they drop the shit off. The people that they've been busting, and they have repeatedly, hold on one second. Let me show you this real quick. Let's see. Organized shoplifting arrest. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Boink. Let's go there. And then we'll go to, this is the 2 days ago. Organized now police. No, yeah, here you go. There's one in Ohio. Let's go to another one. Yeah, here you go. I'll just show you these guys. So, there you go. California cops recover $9.5 million worth of stolen clothing, shoes, electronics as 2 people associated with the organized cargo theft ring are arrested. This is also retail theft, by the way. It's just done during the supply part of it, which is, again, that's $9.5 million worth of there. There you go. It's easier. It's an easy, fast dollar. How organized retail theft rings in one Ohio town use Facebook Marketplace to sell stolen goods. That's where things are. One thief said he made $2,500 a day stealing power tools before he was arrested. You make more money than you do selling drugs. It's less jail time. Yeah, because nobody ODs on a power drill. Called himself Rick Nye, at least on a Facebook Marketplace. His friendly profile picture featured a little girl giving him a hug. His page was filled with great deals, deeply discounted power tools still in the box. Nye's social media presence was unremarkable for a man from the suburb just south of Toledo. He looked just like any other guy, had extra equipment to offload. Someone wanted the Husqvarna chainsaw he had advertised for $250, nearly half off the sticker price at the nearby Lowe's where he stole it from. Nye agreed to meet his customer at a parking lot near the Baymont Inn. The buyer got a new chainsaw, and Nye drove off in his Ford F-150 with a fresh wad of bills. The next day, Nye, 44, was behind bars. He was eventually charged with helping to lead an organized crime ring that spanned Michigan and Ohio. He's now in state prison, serving a 5-year sentence for his role in what police say is a growing illegal industry. Massive organized retail theft in which internet-savvy criminals shoplift pricey items from the shelves of big box retailers. Again, shoplift pricey items. Believe me, Rob shit thinks it's all people, like banging into a CVS and stealing face cream. This is the bigger part of it. This is the big spike in the amount of money. From the shelves of big box retailers, they sell the loot on Facebook Marketplace and similar sites. It's big money. Said him, he goes, they're not. Let's see. Curtis was posing as a landscaper the day he bought the stolen chainsaw. We're not going to put up with it. We're not going to tolerate it. He was the actual buyer. This dude, this is the guy who bought the chainsaw. It turned out to be an undercover cop. Curtis, one of a trio of investigators in the 23-officer department who's been busting organized shoplifting rings long before a wave of cities began acknowledging the problem in recent weeks. And by the way, this is not new by any means. You go, plainclothes shoplifting stings result in 11 arrests during Black Friday weekend. There you go, this one right there. Officers with the Los Angeles Police Department organized retail crime task force. See that? So that's why you don't get 89 arrests made so far by LASD's new retail crime task force. Organized retail theft is hitting business hard, said Stephen Craig, owner of Citadel Outlets. A few months ago, several ladies walked into a Lululemon with 55-gallon trash bags, loaded them up as full as they could, and ran out the door with them. They're organized. These products end up in other places, and it's for profit. So, just putting that in there. There you go. So, this is not, by the way, the footage that he's showing. There's one of the pieces of footage they used was the Apple store or the iPhone store or whatever. And then there was which was hilarious because they jammed all the phones up. They could, yes, Lululemon. That was one of the big stings. Because this stuff is expensive and they could sell it at a cut and still it seems reasonably priced even online. So, anyways, They do arrest them. That guy's doing 5 years, and they've arrested 85 people, and they basically they work their way up the chain just like any other thing, and then people are on probation or they're allowed to get out if they roll the person above them that organized it, and then if they're ever caught again, they do the actual time they were up for.
Periods of time. A couple of things would happen. First, you would determine.
By the way, they've been using this fucking piece of footage for years, for 2 years now.
The other ones from doing it. And second, you get them the hell off the street so they wouldn't do it. I think there are about 7,000 to 10,000 people walking the streets of New York City that wouldn't be walking the streets of New York City when I was the mayor.
Yeah. Right, but that's true of a lot of black people minding their own business.
Well, they're the ones who are doing this.
That's the Lululemon stuff, I think. That might be the footage, or one of the similar.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what I am seeing is 2020 playing itself out day after day.
I see. This is not a reference to the election. He means that black people are always rioting now.
People learn this because of what the Democratic mayors and the Soros prosecutors taught them in 2020.
They play that. And again, if there's so much of this shit, why would you ever have to loop a piece of footage?
That you could go in, you could wipe out a store. The crooked Democratic politicians would say, oh, they're looking for food. But of course, they'd be walking out with $4,000, $5,000 televisions, booze, jewelry. Yeah. Not food. None of these people needed food.
No.
And,
all right.
And the cops would just...
That's what I'm talking about. Like, he's basically saying that that Black Lives Matter is now an organized crime group that is bent on stealing now. It just that's what it was always about. That's what it's continued. That's the general gist of this nonsense.
Allowed to watch, like they record crime. I mean,
instead of what? Shooting people for leaving a store you're standing in who are shoplifting and not going, the cops will wrap this up eventually and the store's insured. But I suppose if I was caring right now, I could shoot someone with a bag full of Lululemon tights and feel good about my day.
I found it outrageous, and I predicted to people.
Oh, there we go. It's just that
this would happen. And of course, it's happening. I mean, some of the people that have interrupted have gotten arrested for interrupting.
Yeah.
No.
No
one has been arrested for interrupting. No one.
It's going to destroy New York City.
Yeah.
If it hasn't destroyed New York City already.
I don't know. Go outside and check. You're in fucking New York City. Look out a fucking window. If it's destroyed New York City already, what are you doing there? It's clearly not safe for an old fuck like you.
The whole society. I mean,
yeah. I mean, obviously, the whole society, everyone. I mean, I'm afraid to even look. Do I dare look out the window right now, or I burn my face from the flames of hell that are lapping at my window?
They have embraced this idea that there really are no criminals in society.
We did elect the guy who wrote the crime bill. I'm just saying. We did. There were other people running on, defund the police and abolish prisons. They lost. We elected the guy who wrote the crime bill. By the way, with the support of every black mayor in the country.
The criminals are just people that are down on their luck. I mean, in reality, there is a whole subsection of our society that was waiting for this kind of decriminalization. And the moment that it happened, they said...
Yeah, they were just waiting. They're just sitting in their easy chair going, one day they're going to decriminalize crime.
It's go time. And these are the people, I mean, there's some numbers in New York that show that.
A lot of those people who said that, I think, who said it's go time, have gone to jail because it apparently was not go time.
There's only a couple hundred people that have committed, that have been, thousands and thousands and thousands of crimes. Yeah. And those people are so emboldened, and that's why we're seeing all this.
That's always the way it is. I mean, Professor Wilson figured this out about 1978. He called it.
Oh yeah, Professor. You guys remember Professor Wilson?
Career criminal.
He called it career criminal. I see. So, and you were like, what a great word or phrase to describe what I do.
There's always a relatively few people that commit much larger amounts of crime than you think.
Yes.
And therefore, if you have a good program of concentrating on them, you can reduce crime pretty darn quickly. We call it hotspots. Last time I did it, believe it or not, was in Medellin, Colombia. And within a year, we reduced crime by 48%.
No. Rudy Giuliani did not reduce crime in Medellin, Colombia by 48%. Fuck off.
So it works everywhere, but it's called, you have to arrest them.
Let's see. How show average reported shoplifting rate in 24 cities has dropped over the last 3 years. Of course it has, because the 2020 thing where stuff was open, and of course 2020 was a higher spike. Hold on one second. Rate, yes. Rate of shoplifting 2020. Hold on one second. Rate of shoplifting. Projections indicate. Okay, so, and by the way, I know exactly, he's looking at CapitalOneShopping.com is where they got their thing. Yeah. Here you go. Boink. This would be, I guess, what you're talking about. Hold on one second. Bring this up. Go away and shrink down, you silly thing. Here you go. U.S. shoplifting rate down as some cities see spike. Despite worrying about rampant retail theft in the United States, a 24-city sample analyzed by think tank Council on Criminal Justice shows the current shoplifting prevalence actually remains below pre-pandemic levels of 2018-2019. However, the sample also shows a resurgence of retail theft in 2023 from pandemic lows. Furthermore, some cities are diverging from the average and have seen major spikes in shoplifting in 2023. New York City in particular is affected by this, having counted about 36 incidents of retail theft per 100,000 people. Let's see, New Yorkers in August of last year remained at a very elevated 60. Cities which have seen similar developments, according to the data, are Boston and Los Angeles, albeit on lower levels, between 20 and 40 incidents per 100,000. In June of the latest data up from 15 to 30 per 100,000 in mid-2018. While Los Angeles rates are undeniably up, Boston's also fluctuated quite a bit before COVID-19 hit. Notably, decreases from pandemic shoplifting prevalence happened in Seattle and St. Louis. Makers of the report find that there have been no geographic patterns to whether a city's rate was up or down post-pandemic. They also point out that overall shoplifting trend in the city sample follows the same pattern as developments in the larger larceny theft category. Burglary, robbery also dipped in these overall locales in the country overall during COVID and have not returned fully to pre-pandemic levels. The exception is vehicle theft, which has decoupled from the greater larceny theft trend and has skyrocketed, something the FBI points out in the recent annual crime report. Are the thieves more organized, violent, successful? News of organized retail theft, sometimes called smash and grab incidents, has continued to be reported from different parts of the country, receiving much attention from the public as well as from policymakers, at least until 2021. The share of shoplifting incidents involving more than 2 people remained at less than 5%. While crimes with more than 6 participants made up just 0.1% of the total, according to the analyzed by CCJ. Likewise, shoplifting incidents involving assault or another additional crime constitute less than 2% of all cases in 2021, despite being up by 9% since 2019. The value of goods stolen per shoplifting incident is estimated to be up, however. God damn it, am I just always right? At around $75 in 2019, while that number was roughly $100 in 2021. That's a combination of 2 things. One, the targeting of specific goods by retail theft gangs as opposed to individuals just trying to steal stuff for their own sustenance, and and a little bit of inflation thrown in for good measure. A steep increase of shoplifting incidents classified as felonies on the basis of the value of stolen goods in a 5-city sample suggests that the trend of stealing higher value items might have continued after 2021. While retailers have recently said that theft is hurting their bottom line, some observers believe they actually have bigger problems and are just hopping the bandwagon of retail theft being in the headlines. On the other hand, the fact that many shoplifters aren't caught means that the crime is generally believed to be underreported. Finally, retailers and officials measure against the retail theft could also be taking hold, reining in a problem that would be otherwise bigger. There you go. Now, that's from one of the senior data analysts at Statista.
You have to give them fairly lengthy sentences. And then they don't do it.
No, they get 5 years. 5 years is plenty for smash and grab theft.
It's so simple. It enrages me that we let the dumbest people in society run society, and we do.
Careful, you're getting awfully close to explaining the Trump presidency.
This pretty much in every blue city that we have.
God, are you right? Are you correct? My goodness, yeah.
My goodness, golly gee.
It's a shame. But
it is. It's a shame that people as dumb as Donald Trump actually ran society for a while.
This is a solvable problem.
It is a solvable problem. Thuffer and Thuckatash.
My goodness, yeah. It's a shame. But this is a solvable problem.
It is a solvable problem.
We have some problems that are very difficult to solve. This is not one of them.
This is not one of them.
This one is,
yeah, like what, zippers?
Is solved by any person with goodwill and a decent intellect.
Yeah.
Who's willing to, throw in 5 or 10 innocent people on the regular just to make sure that you get the 1 or 2 that are behind all the shit and can just suck it up.
Mayor Giuliani, thank you so much. We appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And by the way, thanks for handing over New York to the Russians and the Chinese, because while the Russians are more brutal than the Italians, the Chinese are more sort of vicious in their own right. So at the very least, they kill just as many people to maintain their power, but you don't see them. So, that's nice. They're not hanging out of cars with blood pouring out of their head. It's much, they're more tidy about the whole thing.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. Boring. By the way, hi, chat room. You guys are wonderful. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. By the way, whenever I mention that, when I tell people that they should hit the like when they're watching right away, I can watch the numbers tick up as far as viewership right there. I could see the number go higher by hundreds in the chat room alone. So I'm just saying, thank you. That really helps. Now, if I may, let's see. Now I know, and hi, you're watching Houseparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Houseparks. You can do it yearly. It's getting, if you want a Christmas gift for me, that's one of the things. Do it for the year. But also there's the Venmo and Super Chats. And I always forget to mention that kind of stuff. Now, in my job, I am often in a situation where I have to consider ethically, morally, intellectually, and psychosexually how I feel about any particular issue that comes across my newsfeed / transom, and especially if it's a new piece of information or even, dare I say, an irrelevant talking point that is interfering with the flow of normalcy and is drawing attention away from real solutions, which happens a lot. And so I gotta think about that. Sometimes, an issue will pop up and it'll be in the news, and I'm like, okay, I know everybody's on shitter, reacting, jumping through the neck of their shirt, trying to tell everybody how they feel about it without all the information. But I think I could tap the brakes a little bit, hang out for a minute, see how this really shakes out, before I make up my mind. And sometimes the idea is so complex that in the middle of me being in that contemplative space, right-wingers will just jump in and start telling me what I think already. Yeah? Right? I was like, hey, how do I feel about that? Like, hey, this is how you feel. But what do I think about it? This is what you think. Like, oh, well, good. I'm glad somebody's brought this up. Thanks so much. And one of those people that does it quite often is Glenn Beck. And now he's got a weird gig. Besides being the only person besides Matt Schlapp to wear a cravat regularly to work or have some sort of neck harness to keep his gullet in position, or perhaps to hide his growing nunt. We don't know. Glenn also is single-handedly trying to bring back the Woody Allen look, while at the same time never giving up on his failing repeated audition to be Colonel Sanders. Now, apparently, leftists, which I suppose, I don't know if I qualify on the merits, but I'm certain that he would call me one, if that makes sense. And this this is it too late? Too late. Too late for love. Sorry. Never pass up an opportunity to burst into Def Leppard. So, is it too late to escape the leftist plan for global chaos? Okay, first of all, you can't plan chaos. It goes against the entire purpose of it. If you plan it, it's no longer chaos. If it's controlled chaos, it's not chaos. I don't want to be a purist about this, but it's fucking stupid. Just, I mean, 5 steps to revolution. Look, just because what's going on inside the washer or the dryer looks crazy from the outside, it's actually quite controlled. The amount of water, the heat of the water, the spin cycle. It may look nuts to you as stuff's tumbling and rolling together, but that's part of the process. And Glenn, who doesn't do his own laundry, and you can tell if you meet him, has 5 steps to revolution. We could solve this. And by the way, you guys know that on a personal level, revolution is a heavily overused word. It's kind of like people who never got over their rebellious streak in high school and are now fucking adults. That they're the ones who tend the most to talk about revolution, especially in a political sense, and not in a sort of colloquial analogy sense, but for real. Yeah. 5 steps to revolution. Revolution calling. All right. And of course, Queensryche can always have.
These are the 5 steps for revolution.
Oh, good. Write them down. Let's go. There might be a pop quiz at the end of this.
It's, as he accurately said in the clip I played for you a minute ago.
Yeah, maybe attach the clip to your fucking video so we know what the hell you're talking about.
The CIA developed this.
Did they?
And it was for revolutions, green and color.
Oh, I see. So that's why it's called 5 Steps to Revolution, which is what the CIA tends to use names like that. They do. They tend to, when they make a list like this, like how to destroy a country, the CIA plan. This is in the Department of Fucking Shit Up.
Revolutions. And it's really easy. You have to discredit the press.
Okay, so Donald Trump discredits the press. Okay, so it's really easy. All right, that was easy. I don't know why he's not in power now. If it was that easy, if that's maybe he got, maybe he got the other 4 steps wrong. Maybe that's why. Yeah, that's why.
Now, once you discredit the press,
or I guess they discredit themselves because they become fake news. In which case, does that count? Do you get points for that? Or
you also have to discredit intelligentsia. You have to discredit all of the experts.
Oh, I see. You mean like mocking elites and scientists and people like Anthony Fauci and shit like that, and telling people instead to listen to you and Joe Rogan about horse paste with fucking ivermectin in it that you can take, and if you have worms, you'll feel a lot better.
Well, they've done both of these themselves.
I see. So it's on autopilot. I see. So it's not you and your kind mocking these 2 institutions. You're discrediting them, and then you're going, I'm not discrediting themselves. They don't deserve credit. Uh-huh.
Okay? And I don't...
No, not okay. Fuck you.
Don't think that it is...
At all.
A coincidence, that it works out. Everything that the left does...
No. You can't have a planned revolution that requires the discrediting of these 2 bodies if they've collapsed under their own weight in your theory. That's not a revolution. That's a devolution of the processes of society, if you believe that's actually what's happening, which it isn't. But that's what Trump said about doing. The problem is he did it so obviously and so pathetically that everybody knows that's what he was doing, railing against elites and rhinos and the establishment and the deep state and all these fucking people who show up every goddamn day and do the job you don't even know exists so you could get on your fucking phone while you're driving on your way to work and not die. You know those folks? Yeah, that you don't give a shit about until you think they're in your way. Yeah. Trump gets on rails against those folks, and he's such a dick about it and is so obvious about it that you can't, I guess, attack the other side using these as a weapon if he's already done it. So you have to make it up that he's not attacking them. He's not discrediting them. He's not creating a narrative where the elites or people who have studied or worked on certain issues and give a shit about this stuff he's not attacking them and bringing them down. They fell apart on their own. Therefore, again, why would you need a revolution against a system that doesn't exist?
Doesn't it always seem to be a win-win for them?
Yeah, that's what we were all hoping Trump would get in so that he could call the press the enemy of the people and attack medical science during a pandemic. We all had a big fucking boner for two of those pillars of normalcy to crash for no good reason.
Whether it's exposed, whether it works, whether it doesn't, they always seem to win. It always works in their favor.
You mean reality? Maybe. It isn't that reality works for us. Maybe it's just reality. And maybe it doesn't work for you because you're fucking bananas. And I don't mean insane or crazy. I mean, you're a banana fucker. I'm calling it out right now. I'm just throwing that. Glenn Beck fucks bananas. I mean, just allegedly, obviously. But from what I hear, he's been caught fucking bananas by Stu. Because he was supposed to be eating them instead of Sonic, but he was eating Sonic and fucking bananas at the same time. And you can get a weird form of fruit syphilis from that turns you into a dandy, I've heard, and makes you dress in a very peculiar way. Rumor has it.
So they've discredited the press.
No. Trump has attacked it nonstop.
They've discredited the experts.
No, that's what you do every day. Again, this asshole wants to you're going to plead innocent now?
Easy would it be to regain the trust of our doctors and our scientists
if they would just tell the public what they want to hear, which is, of course, that fish tank cleaner will kill coronaviruses.
If they would just come out and say, yeah, we really blew it here, and we're finding the people responsible for it. We know it was Fauci.
You mean the people responsible for Operation Fartsteed and that got us a vaccine that ended up keeping people out of the hospital and our death rate, as soon as everybody started getting vaccinated, plummeted?
Why wouldn't you do that?
Because it's not true, and as an expert, you're bound by reality.
Because they want experts to continue to be discredited.
Yes. Why? How would that happen if indeed these people weren't fucking experts? If the argument is they're not experts, that doesn't discredit experts. That discredits, I guess, the idea that there are fraudsters in there, but it doesn't. All right.
By the average. So.
By the average. By the average what? Glenn Beck listener? Fuck out of here.
That way, when there's chaos on the street, do you trust the police? Do you trust the FBI?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time.
Do you trust the medical association?
No, I gotta say, I don't know anybody there. The medical association, where are they located? The medical association, the Association of Medical Professionals, AMP. I don't have their number, and I don't think any of them know my PIN number. I mean, what kind of trust are we talking about? Are we talking about like I'll fall backwards and you guys will catch me, or or trust me, you'll like this, and I've trimmed my fingernails? That's the question.
Moon River.
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust the media? Who's coming?
You are the media, fuckhead.
For you. If there's real trouble, who?
Nobody's coming for me. I come for myself. What? Yeah, I guess. All right. I'll stand by that.
Who's coming? Did you see the video of the guy on the...
What's with the turquoise fucking ring? What is that all of a sudden? Do you just swap out your wedding ring with a what?
Street in New York. He was a regular guy standing up in the streets of New York.
Just being a regular guy.
The press was asking him questions about,
what's it like to be a regular guy?
Why
being regular? And was he? My question is, was he shitting at the time? Because how did they know he was regular?
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
are you standing up against, the letting people across the border? And he looked at the reporter, and then he looked at the crowd and he said, guys, it's up to us. No one is coming to save our city. No one is coming to save our state or our Constitution.
That's right. If I'm coming, it's for my own pleasure. But, sorry.
No one's coming.
This is the type of thing, that's right. Sometimes I go to the gym and, I feel like the good feelings that when I'm coming, this is great.
The news is not telling you the truth.
And this was a regular guy. Man, such bravery.
The politicians are part of it. The politicians are the ones doing it to us.
They are? So wait a minute. So obviously, if no one's coming and they're doing it to you, maybe nobody's enjoying this. I'm just saying, consent matters.
We have to stand up.
He was, I would like to point out that the man was standing at the time. You just said he was standing. He was standing up. He was not sitting. He was not taking this sitting down.
He was not taking the coming sitting down, this.
So that way, if everything is discredited, you feel like you have to stand up, and then things get even more out of control because somebody does something stupid or something.
Again, are you just going to walk us through the entire Trump presidency?
Is set up to make it look like that other side is doing something.
I see. So you're saying that agents provocateur made the Antifa people attack the federal building in Portland?
And
that's why they were picking some of them up in vans during the Trump administration. That they were sending them out there trying to kind of even it out to get prepped for Jan 6 because they knew that was coming.
Can crack down. Everybody cries out for.
We don't crack down on this show. No. We crack up. Sorry.
Order.
It's terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. Not as terrible as Glenn's outfit, but close.
Look at what's happening there in the news today.
I read the news today. Oh boy. Glenn, real quick. You can't say that the step one of the revolution is already on autopilot because you can't trust the media and then cite the newspaper.
A couple of stories.
So you kept reading after the first bullshit story.
Chicago area high school provides segregated classes for Black and Hispanic students. Now, any time in modern history, we would know that's racist. You can't do that. What are you doing?
Hold on. Chicago area school. Hold on. Chicago area school segregated classrooms. Okay. Chicago area provides segregated classes for Black and here it is. This is the article he's talking about. This is from the Post Millennial, but we'll go to Chicago Public Schools and there's multiple articles about this. Go high school. Okay, here you go. This would be from All Sides Media, which sounds completely fair. November, here you go. This is the article he's talking about. From the right. Let's read the full story. Come on. Can't just read the right-wing side of things. Go ahead, fuck off. Chicago area high school provides segregated classes for Black and Hispanic students. At issue for those who advocate for segregated education, the well-being of Black students who have been expected to conform to a white standard. A high school in Evanston, Illinois, home of Northwestern University, has embarked on a new plan to get grades up for minority students. Segregation. The classes segregated by race for Black and Hispanic students, so-called affinity classes, and while they are not enforced, they were offered for Black and Hispanic students only because they were worried that if you asked the white kids if they wanted to have whites only classes, they'd say yes. Is that the argument? It's fucking Evanston. The classes have non-white teachers, and no white students are permitted in the courses. Students can decide to opt into these courses, and many do. The Wall Street Journal reports that almost 200 students signed up for math and writing courses in 2023. The idea is that Black and Hispanic students will do better in classes if they are separated from white students. In 2021, Chicago Middle School undertook segregated field trips. Jefferson Middle School District in Chicago wanted to facilitate the camaraderie between Black teachers and Black students. One student said that in the segregated classes, she feels more confident because she doesn't feel pressure to speak for the entire Black race. The courses were brought in as a way to bring, okay, because there's not that many, is the point. Okay. The courses were brought in as a way to bring minority students up to speed where they had been falling behind. The Evanston School Board Vice President said, our Black students are, for lack of a better word, at the bottom, consistently still, and they're being outperformed consistently. It's not good. School districts across the U.S. have attempted segregated classes, all which are done voluntarily. Since it is legal to discriminate against students for their race, the law banning segregation was passed, blah, blah, blah. While segregation has long been condemned as an outright evil, some of the programs are reaping positive results for their Black and Hispanic students. Researchers have found some small improvements in grades and retention from such programs. Other studies have shown more improved educational outcomes, such as graduation rates for Black and Latino students taught by teachers of the same race. So the idea also, just for the hiring aspect of, and I don't know if it's Evanston High School, I doubt it, but it is voluntary and it is remedial, meaning it is for students that are behind. And if they have a special problem with Black and Hispanic students falling behind, those classes, which are 200 kids in total, which are different subjects, so probably 10 to 12 per class. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am reading beyond the headline. That's my cross to bear, kids.
What is it doing? It is creating hostilities between races. It's creating...
Hold on. No, it actually isn't. It actually isn't. There's no hostility. As a matter of fact, it's just letting some of the Black kids who are remedial in these issues feel like they can relax and just study. And it's not every subject. You might have a bunch of classes that are mixed and one class that isn't because it's remedial and specifically for, so that you have somebody that looks like you guiding you through it so you have a feeling that there's a possibility.
Separate.
Just honestly, it's just representation for some kids who feel left behind because they're like, why the fuck would I want to study this? Nobody, that looks like me gets ahead in this area, or they've been bullshitted by well-meaning assholes, I would say, on our side of the aisle, who sometimes make them feel like aliens in their own country by constantly telling them the system is against them, when the system is constantly guided by people of all colors, races, and religions who are trying to make the whole country better for all the kids. Except for the Glenn Becks of the world. Yeah.
Classes, except it's just reversed.
No, it isn't.
What is that going to do?
It's going to have more Black kids graduate from high school.
Did you see?
In that particular school.
There was...
By the way, two schools where they do this, and it's voluntary. And this is supposed to be indicative of the direction the country is headed in.
Another story...
Yeah, you'll find it. You know what? Do you even have to quote it? Just make it up.
Where was this one?
Up your ass? I don't know if that's...
Like this, I'd probably feel 100%. Moon River. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
You ever serve time?
Serve time?
Maybe New York, where the...
Probably New York. It probably was. Does it involve scary immigrant people and blacks and crime and hot dog vendors and Israelis and Palestinians arguing in the street? If it's any of those things, it's probably New York.
Students, Black and Hispanics, are no longer going to be held to that white standard of education.
No. That was the same article that you read. And the idea was an attempt at getting around that feeling that the students had. Not that they are, but to get around the feeling that they are.
Now, what does that mean?
It means you can't read. And perhaps they should have had remedial classes for chubby Colonel Sanders lookalikes.
You're going to lower the standards? Really? That's a white thing? Because I know a lot of dummy white people.
Well, but enough about the staff at the Blaze.
What does that do?
Well, most of those kids, by the way, are in almost entirely whites-only schools simply because they're in rural areas. Sort of think of some of the like inner city areas as kind of like rural areas for black people. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of them and there's not a lot of anybody else, and they have special issues that are related to the economic situation that they're in that's not that different from fucking hillbillies.
That just makes you into a slave.
Jesus Christ. No, it does not.
If you have poor education and you're not...
And by the way, let's be abundantly clear. This motherfucker thinks public education is the problem. He wants it eliminated. And he certainly doesn't want black people to get into universities because he thinks none of them deserve it.
Held to a higher standard, what do you think's going to happen to our society?
I don't know. Maybe they should shut down all those fucking Montessori schools where there is no grading system up until they move on to a middle school or some shit like that. And those kids, gee, they do really fucking well. It's curious.
More than 2,500 police officers in New York City have quit this year.
What's the standard attrition rate for New York? How many every year? Let's see. How many did he say? He said, yeah, here you go. 20, how many? 2,500?
New York City.
Back the fuck up.
More than 2,500 police officers in New York City have quit this year.
This year, in 2023, and it's November, it's almost December. 2,500? No shit. Wait a second. 2,500. That, my God, that seems like a rather large number. And it's almost as if this dickhead is reading from the New York Post. 2,516 New York cops head for the exit so far in 2023. Pension data, according to New York. Now, let's see. Let's scroll down here real quick. Our cops, this is 2021. Our NYPD officers rushing to retire amid city's anti-cop protests. Okay, there we go. There we go. More than 5,300 cops left NYPD in 2020. Less than half that number quit this year. So, who's president in 2020? And who's president now? And what policies were in place in 2020? And what policies are in place now? Gee, it's curious. You think that's kind of curious? Does anybody think that's fucking kind of curious that in 2020, twice as many cops quit?
New York City is also
tall. It's a very tall city. A lot of tall buildings. Very tall.
A place where
what? Where all the to quote Dylan Moran, the sex, coffee, and conversation happened.
What was it?
What was it? People saying "fuck you" when they're asked directions.
2 billion.
2 billion? That's a lot.
Place where what was it? 2 billion.
2 billion people have died.
Can't find it now.
2 billion people were shot while shopping at for a car in a drugstore.
But the amount of money, I think it's $2.4 billion that has been lost.
You just make it up. By the way, let me just tell you right now what we just watched. He's fucking making up that number.
This year in theft.
Oh my God. Theft? $2.4 billion in theft in New York City? Gee, it's almost like things are worth more and more people have things that are worth more than, say, 1975.
In theft.
In theft. And by the way, New Yorkers don't drive, so it's not a lot of carjacking. That's a Chicago thing.
Businesses are closing. They can't handle the amount of theft.
Yeah, the M&M store is fucked. I mean, you'd think you'd be able to arrest these people, but they don't melt in their hands, so you can't, they can't be caught brown-handed, as it were, or what have you. Yellow/brown/red/ perhaps green even.
What does that make you do? Makes you cry out for...
It does. It makes me cry out. Why, God? Why? All right. Does it?
For somebody to make it stop.
Yeah, that's right. Make it stop. That's what most people in New York are doing. I want you to go to your window right now. And I want you to lean out your window and say, make it stop. And somebody on the street will go, hey, fuck you. Tell that to the guy behind you, you prick you. Like that. And everybody will have a good laugh.
Now, this is the way they're trying to make Argentinians, the Argentinian president.
Argentinians?
Look.
like a 70s movie producer?
Like he's crazy and a fascist.
Well, I gotta say, hold on. Make it stop. Stu, make it stop. So he's talking about Javier Milei, who's the new darling of the right. This is the guy, let's see news. The guy who just won down there. And everybody's like, he's a libertarian. He's the Argentinian Donald Trump. Except for him to be the Argentinian Donald Trump, he would have had to take power while things were relatively fine and then crash the economy and let a pandemic roll through the entire place and fuck it. He's actually taking over when everything is already fucked. In many ways, he's sort of the Argentinian Joe Biden. He's playing cleanup after the last guy fucked things up. Let's see. Argentina, as you know, Argentina, men have named you. Where the fuck? All right, let me go back to search. Here you go. Argentina, there you go. Who is the Javier Milei? Who is this person? This is and I love, by the way, they're calling him a far right guy. Not because he's even a fascist, or that's the idea of what he's doing. He's just, the country is so fucked. The populism is pretty much made with crayons and hammers right now. But he's just anti-socialist because what South American socialists are like are not Bernie Sanders socialists. They're dudes with mustaches and gangs of armed militants behind them. It's not the same thing. And so even when you're fighting for they're trying to destroy South American socialism because the capitalists, blah, 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 pig dogs, yada, yada. It's not even close to true. It's a lot closer to, being pro-union, and people are still referring to unions like it's dock workers controlled by the mob in 1935. Right. So Javier Milei won Argentina's presidential elections on Sunday, wrenching his country to the right with a bombastic anti-establishment campaign that drew comparisons to that of former U.S. President Donald Trump because they both have stupid hair. All against the backdrop of one of the world's highest inflation rates, which is also what he has in common with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump caused his, and this guy is landing in the middle of it. Milei is the president-elect for the next 4 years. Well, no, he'd be the I say president-elected for the next 4 years. Here he goes. He's going to have, following his victory, Milei told a local radio station that he will visit the U.S. and Israel before his inauguration in December. His trip to the U.S. will have a spiritual connotation since he's aiming to visit his rabbi friends. He's converting to Judaism, by the way. We discussed this yesterday with the Israeli ambassador in Argentina. He said, adding that he intends to visit the Organization of American States during his time in the U.S. Milei's victory remarks, an extraordinary rise for the former TV pundit and lead singer in a hard rock band and failed Tom Jones impersonator. Today, we turn our page in our history and we return to the path that we should have never lost. Today, we retake the path and make this, that made this country great. So Milei, a social conservative with ties to the American right, opposed abortion rights and has called climate change a lie of socialism. He has promised to slash government spending by closing Argentina's ministries of culture, education, diversity, and by eliminating public subsidies because they can't afford anything. They don't have anything right now. They can't pay for anything right now. Kind of got to build on some of this stuff. And by the way, he will outsource all of those support structures to countries like the UN and the World Bank and the United States and people trying to invest in the country. And so he'll shut them down and let the fucking UN move in the same way that, like, red states have a tendency to do this as well. They go, we don't want any federal subsidies, but we'll take them. We'll just pretend we're not taking them. Right. We don't need any federal money. The federal government takes too much money. It does everything wrong. Meanwhile, we'll be at the ribbon cutting for all the fucking infrastructure projects. Same shit.
But I want you to listen to what he says. I don't necessarily like the way he says it.
Because he says chingo tu madre and things like that, which he does.
He uses the S word a lot. But
socialism or shit?
Listen to what he's saying.
What he says
about
shit.
The left in Argentina.
Right, which is not the left in this country, for the record.
You can't give leftards an inch.
You can't give shit. I love how they're okay with that word, though.
Can you define leftist?
No, I can't. You just have to take my word for it.
All collectivists, all kinds of collectivists.
You know, all kinds of collectivism. And we, as Argentinians, as a group, we know better than that. That we, the good Argentinians of the Argentinian people, and the fine line of, we hate collectivism, as Argentinians have as a group for a long time. We hate any kind of collective idea that, you know, except the whole thing about being Argentinian. And then, well, that's kind of a collective thing, but we only care about our people. Argentinian collectivism first.
But why do you call them shit?
Because they are.
I don't even know where there's a controversy about this fella. He speaks clearly, and you know exactly what he's talking about, and he's big on details. He actually is. This is what Glenn. This is, of course, the clip of this guy talking that Glenn would focus on, because it doesn't have any math in it.
No.
He doesn't talk about like interest and bond rates and by the way, there's a huge part of this conversation that is missing that I'm curious. I don't pre-watch any of these videos, so I'm curious to see if Glenn goes anywhere near it. I'm guessing not, and that would be the dollarization of this country.
If you think differently from them, they will kill you. This is the point. You can't give leftists an inch. If you give them an inch, they will use it to destroy you.
Yeah, well, that's because he's talking about kind of the Contras and that kind of crowd. That's what I'm saying. There's a huge difference between what he deals with as far as quote-unquote leftists down there and what we view as the left in this country, which is like Bernie Sanders and people like that. They're not even parallel. And the problem is with left-right conversations is that they don't necessarily translate country to country.
You can't negotiate with leftards. You don't negotiate. You don't negotiate with trash because they will end you. If they, the left, have a guy that beats his wife off, if it's one of them.
Beats his wife off? Well, it's a very strange way of putting it. I mean, that makes sense if it's Trump, though.
I had a beat off.
He puts on the green scarf and yells about neoliberalism all the time, and they hide it. If suddenly there's a journalist that molests another journalist.
What? Does this happen a bunch? Is he just trying to apply to her, this to her? Excuse you?
They hide it.
What? Yes. Yes, I get it, guys. She's smoking hot. Try to pay attention.
When it's one of them, they hide it. They hide all of those aberrations. Now, if you are on the other side, they will ruin you.
I see. So he's worried that they will attack him for molesting a journalist if he decides to molest a journalist. I don't know why that's on his mind right now. But they bury it if you're on their side, and that's how nobody knows that it's happened. But it couldn't be that it didn't happen. It has to be that they buried it.
They will kill you. They will throw you everything. They don't care if they ruin your whole life. Why? Only because you don't think like them.
Well, if don't think like them, you mean you believe in molesting people and they don't, then it's not really about thought, is it? It's sort of about action.
And do you know what's the good part in all of this?
No, I really, really don't. You get at the presidential palace, you get better shampoo.
Because since to err is human, since everyone can be mistaken, they force us to be better. And since we are getting better than them, since we are crushing them in the cultural battle, we're not only superior economically, we are morally superior. We are
Yeah, this doesn't sound like fascism at all.
aesthetically superior.
We're aesthetically superior. Yeah, we got better haircuts, better suits, our teeth.
We're better than them at everything, and that triggers them. And since they
I see. So they're only freaking out. They hate us because they ain't us.
They can't beat us with
Because what about your anus? Wait,
real
what?
arguments. They just use the repressive apparatus of the state with loads of taxpayer money to destroy us.
They don't have loads of taxpayer money. That's the point.
And yet they're still losing.
That's because they don't actually have any taxpayer money to use, and they're not doing what you're saying they're doing?
They had to remove the blacklist. They had to remove the blacklist. You understand? They're losing. They're desperate. Leftists are losing the cultural battle. For the first time ever, they are cornered. Those leftards.
Yeah, it's like this. I can't wait till Glenn has this guy on his show.
Okay. Now, when you watch him, he looks a little nuts.
I don't know, not necessarily. He's a little overripe, but you know, he looks like Trump's kind of wild-eyed bullshitting about his trials.
He's got an interesting aesthetic going on there.
Yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
He's got the crazy hair. He's very passionate.
Right.
But that's a way, people use that to dismiss him, obviously
Correct.
at their own peril.
But listen.
At their own peril? Why? He just got the job and the country's in the shitter, and it will require an international effort to help him right that country again, and it's going to have almost nothing to do with fucking libertarian Ayn Rand bootstrapping in the fucking country.
Listen to what he's saying. Why do we think this is about the Democrats and Republicans?
It isn't.
Why are we fighting over stupid parties?
Because you've backed Donald Trump, who's the head of a stupid party?
When this is being fought now in Ireland, it
isn't
being fought in several countries in Europe. This is being fought. He was just elected as president of Argentina. This isn't an American problem. This isn't about Trump supporters. This isn't about
This isn't a yeah, it has nothing to do with you. What's really going on here is that you're losing so badly on your side of the aisle in this country, the country you actually live in, that you're looking for strength and leadership and the illusion of clarity anywhere you can fucking find it. So that's why you like Orban. That's why, anytime somebody rises up in the streets, even if they're rising up against you and your ilk, in theory, you're like, look, those people did it, so can we.
The Tea Partiers. They want you to believe that it is, but it's not.
Gibberish.
It's about standing up against an ideology of collectivism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we need to get together as a group and destroy collectivism. That's what we have to do. We have to band together. All of us. We're all in this together. In the fight against collectivism. Oh, motherfucker. It's the power of the individual. Who's with me? He doesn't even recognize, he can't, no? All right.
That's what this is about.
It is. It's about the power of, it's about each of us alone against the world. Joined at the hip. All right.
They believe that there are ranchers and sheep.
And somebody's getting fucked. I'm just saying.
Moon River. And if you agree with them, maybe you could be a rancher.
You mean that? Hey, asshole! What the fuck do you think the Electoral College is? That's literally that's the dividing point. That's the Republican Party's story. Democrats are, whether you like it or not, we're all sheep some of the time because we all got to eat. And we're all, not responsible for everything that happens in our life. Some motherfucker might try to shear us against our will. Might be a good idea. But the Republicans are actually like, nah, fuck you. Yeah, we're the ranchers, Electoral College. The sheep can try to vote all they fucking want, but we'll corral all your votes in one place. And if we disagree with what the sheep say, we'll vote our way. That's exactly what that is, dum-dum.
Otherwise, get into the pen. You're sheep. You will be slaughtered if the sheep ever figure out, wait a minute, there's more of us than them.
I see. So if the sheep ever figure out that there's more of us than them, if they learn to count sheep, wait a minute, if the sheep learn to count sheep, won't they all sleep through the revolution? It's a tough one.
You'll be slaughtered. That's what we're arguing about.
I still don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
We're not arguing about tax policy or anything else.
Right, because you can't.
This guy is a great example. You hear this from...
He is a great example of probably a road manager that the Carpenters had to fire because he alienated too many venues.
Somebody on the right in Europe, it can be very scary because you don't know. Because in...
you don't know what?
Europe, left and right is very different.
Oh, you motherfucker. But in South America, it's the same? Eat shit.
The left is communism. The right is fascism.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Both of those are oppressive and death prescriptions. Horrible, horrible systems.
And the great thing about South America is that there's never been any South American fascists. There've never been any, murderous regimes or juntas or military takeovers of South American countries. That's never happened.
Here, the left is totalitarianism of any kind.
Oh, I see. So you can, even if they're racist and anti-Semitic and, don't like black people or race mixing or anything, as long as they're totalitarian, they're on the left no matter what. Okay.
Theological, leftist, fascistic, any of this stuff. Communism, that's all on the left.
Yeah, okay. I guess that makes it easy. And everything on the right is what? Sunshine, rainbows?
In America, the right is anarchy. Government so small that it can't do anything. And the very extreme of that is anarchy. We're just inside, out of reach of anarchy.
All right, this is a dumber argument than I was expecting. I'm amazed. Honestly, I thought he was going to paint we should be we shouldn't be that close to anarchy. And the fact that we're that close to it means we should move, I guess, a little more center left then in this. What a bunch of shit. What?
That's what American conservatives should be fighting for.
Okay. Yes, that's us, the GOP, fighting for just short of anarchy. You know that part where you're always afraid society's going to collapse and hordes of people are going to attack you like it's the fucking purge every other day? That's what we want. That's our new platform. We're the GOP. Just short of anarchy. We're changing it from GOP to GSA.
That's what makes this guy less scary.
Because he's way short of anarchy? Because their country is already fucked?
Now, he can change.
No, he can't. Dude, motherfucker, he can't change from anything yet. All you're seeing is rhetoric. He's just now become the president. He fucking hasn't done anything yet. And you know what he's going to do, you dumb motherfucker? You know what he's going to do? He's going to dollarize the fucking country. And you were running all last year on how people are going to abandon the dollar and fuck the dollar. And Biden has screwed the dollar so much that people can't wait to get out of the fucking dollar. And now your fucking hero cannot wait to dollarize his whole fucking country, to phase out his currency entirely and replace it with the US dollar.
Maybe he's a fraud. I don't know. But what he's saying he's going to do is dismantle all of the power centers.
They don't have any power centers. They don't have any tax revenue. They have 112% inflation. Their interest rates are ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? You can't dismantle the power structures. They have no power to start with. The whole place is a fucking wreck.
He's going to dismantle their Federal Reserve, their
yeah. What's he going to replace it with, asshole?
central bank.
And
he says they're controlling the finances. They're controlling the money. They're controlling everything. And they're debasing and devaluing the money of the average person.
And so they found us. I suppose you're getting so fucking close, Glenn. You're getting so fucking close. I suppose they have found a solution, perhaps an alternative currency that doesn't have that problem.
Well, that's same here.
No, it isn't. Then why is he choosing our dollar and not the euro, you twit? The fuck? No, not same here. The dollar's worth more than $1, you asshole.
But if you speak out against the Federal Reserve, you're a crackpot.
No. You could. I talk about how Jerome Powell is wrong and they're not equating the problems they're equating with our economy are based more on supply issues than on too much money in the system and all that kind of stuff. And him like attaching this Volcker philosophy is not going to help. We've already discussed this. Nobody's getting fucking locked up. But if you go like from 0 to Ron Paul in 2 seconds and it's not 1998, people will go, "Oh, you're an asshole. I see."
I'm a fascist because I believe that no secret cabal of bankers and banks should decide what my money is worth.
They don't do it in secret, dumb fuck. They literally have open meetings. The market reacts to it. Son of a bitch. I'm going to get all wound up. And I want you guys know that I'm happy to do this. I'm not upset in any way. I'm having a great time. Just what it's made better. Hold on. Let's see. Interest rates hike, Fed meeting, something like that. Now I don't know. Yeah, luckily, I was able to go to bigsecret.com and find shit like this. Fed shifts into cautious policy mode as risks become more two-sided. U.S. Federal Reserve officials... Oh, get the fuck out of here. This is November 21st. U.S. Federal Reserve officials agreed at their last policy meeting, which was totally in secret, and how would you fucking know? But I guess we'll just have to believe you, media, that they would proceed carefully, in quotes, and only raise interest rates if progress in controlling inflation faltered. The minutes of the October 31st, November 1st gathering showed on Tuesday, which were totally in secret, and nobody was allowed to read them, or they'll blow your fucking brains out, because the minutes of the meeting are available to the public. All participants agreed the committee was in a position to proceed carefully, according to the minutes, which appeared to show support for more rate hikes dissipating within the U.S. Central Bank's Federal Open Market Committee, and the baseline shifting to one in which its benchmark overnight interest rate remains steady, absent a bad inflation surprise. Inflation has been slowing. Consumer prices did not rise at all on a month-to-month basis in October. Consumer prices did not rise at all on a month-to-month basis in October. And while the Fed has not declared its fight against rapid price increases over, the tenor of the discussion has been shifting towards a focus on how long to keep the policy rate in the current 5.25 to 5.50 range. Participants noted that further tightening of monetary policy would be appropriate if incoming information indicated the progress towards the committee's inflation objective was insufficient. Boom. Thank you very much, shitheel. Big secret. And by the way, don't tell anybody I showed you that, or I'm gonna have to kill you guys. Chat room, consider yourself warned. Don't make me murder you. Look, I only got to show you what happened in those meetings minutes because I'm part of the cabal. I am the establishment, after all. I'm the Democratic machine. I am the deep state. I may not hit the bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides. And I'm here to remind you that I know all the inside scoop, the inside skinny, as it were. Which I'm glad the inside is skinny, so you have a little room to move around. But if you tell anybody, I will make your dinner explode after you've eaten it. And not in the fun family way. It will not require a finger pull, I'm telling you. So, do you consider yourself warned? Chat room? Chat room? All right. We'll get back to it, but don't tell anyone that I showed you the secret meetings from the cabal.
The
secret meeting minutes from the cabal.
To decide what they can print and not print.
Yes, I guess it should all. Everybody should have a say in it. This motherfucker doesn't believe in democracy. He believes in the Electoral College, but he thinks he should have a say in how much currency is printed.
That my children have to pay for? I'm a fascist because I believe that shouldn't exist?
No, you're a fascist for a bunch of other dumb reasons. And a lot of it is, we should have been warned with your fucking symbol all over everything and your fucking initials on everything like you're fucking Saddam Hussein. But, by the way, I don't believe that in terms of monetary policy and his attitude towards the Fed, Glenn Beck is a fascist. I don't want, honestly, in a moment of honesty, I don't believe he's a fascist. I think he's a fucking moron. And he's intellectually incapable of grasping any of these issues. And in his confusion, he gets he has an angry panic reflex, like the intellectual toddler that he is. You know what I mean? He has a reaction to these kind of things like a kid that's in one of those child seats with the bib on and the little platter in front of them, and they're done eating, but they're not done eating, so they're just in terms of monetary policy, that's Glenn.
He's right. They are losing. It is.
Motherfucker, he's replacing his currency with ours.
Going to come right down to the wire.
What do you mean, November 4th of next year? That it's going to be great until it's ass.
And
and it's going to be ass right as Trump gets elected, and luckily he'll be right there to fix it by doing nothing.
I think AI is going to play a big role.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Look, Glenn, stick to one issue you don't know shit about at a time.
But if we stay sane,
if he says, how's that work out? Tell me.
Keep our wits on our heads and our Judeo-Christian ethics about us.
And which ones would those be? You're talking Judeo-Christian, so because it's kind of toss-up. On the one hand, on the Christian side, you've got turn the other cheek and love thy enemy and love thy neighbor as thyself and do unto others. And then on the Judeo side of it, no offense, guys, you got turn the other cheek and stoning people for shrimp and being gay. So it sounds like you want to have your cake, and it sounds like, Glenn, you want to eat your cake and eat it too. You weird fuck. And also, say if again. Say if again, motherfucker. Say if again. If what? If what? Say if again. Say if again.
And we...
Yeah, shrimp. Some people are confused by that in the chat room. According to Leviticus, being gay and eating shellfish are punishable by the same death sentence. They're both deadly sins. And so you go to hell for being gay or eating shrimp. And also for wearing polycotton rayon pants. Because if you wear golf pants, you're going to hell. Because you can't wear two types of fabric on the body at the same time. So, yeah. That's according to Leviticus. I'm just saying, you're playing with fire. And if you're going to eat shrimp and wear golf pants, might as well suck a dick if you're a guy, because it's fine. I mean, you can't, they can't put you in more hell. If there was more hell, then it wouldn't be hell, would it? It would be kind of mid-hell, and who's fucking afraid of that? You know what I mean? Maybe it's purgatory hell, something, right? Yeah. I don't think the women wearing pants mattered, Vincent. It's just, yeah, it's a mix of, yeah, you can't mix fabrics. And part of that was an anti-Asian thing, but whatever. We'll get to that later. We'll do that on Christmas. So
let people see our ethics.
Why start now?
Nobody wants to hang out with people who are screaming, death to the Jews.
Right, so just think it, I guess, is what you're saying. Don't scream it. Just whisper it during sex or something. I get it. I hear what you're doing. No, are you sure? And by the way, are you sure nobody wants to hang out? Because there's a lot of fucking assholes out there that I saw hanging out yelling exactly that. I just think nobody's a big word.
At least I hope not.
Well, thanks for drawing that really hard line there, buddy.
And that's what they're becoming. Shout your abortion, death to the Jews.
I don't know. That's an overlapping group, because I don't think any of the guys at Charlottesville who were yelling Jews will not replace us were shouting their abortion at the time. And also admitting that you've had an abortion because you're trying to shame women with silence, and that's where that came from, is again your fault. Women didn't need to talk about their abortions until you tried to make it so that only women who are evil and want to just get rid of their kid 2 days before it's born and paint this picture of women and deny them a right based on that false premise, that they had to come out and go, I've actually had one too. How many do you think, Glenn, ask? I guess you'd have to put him on a lie detector. I don't know how it would work, though, because he lies all the time. So I don't know what your baseline is. And, of course, you could ask him under oath, but I think he would also lie. Ask Donald Trump how many abortions he's paid for.
Take and mutilate children.
Oh, you mean circumcision?
Teach children in school that they should be protesters above everything else.
Well, it is America, and you have the right to do that and stuff. And so we kind of, you mean like teaching them the story of the Boston Tea Party? You mean teaching them that early in school instead of saving it for college or some shit?
And that they can be whatever they want.
Oh my God, what a terrible notion.
And it starts with not listening to your parents, because
never, not ever.
You know better than your parents. And
well, every teenager thinks that and stuff.
We're on your side.
What do you, who are you talking to? A group of youth pastors?
Who wants that?
I don't know. Definitely not the kids who get in the youth pastor's van before he's arrested.
That's what this is really all about.
I thought it was about. You sure it isn't the hokey pokey? Because honestly, my whole life, I've heard them say that's what it's all about, and it's usually the hokey pokey. I mean, I remember when I was a kid and I started laughing at the phrase hokey pokey, which makes it sound like you're fucking a magician, but still, I guess when I was a teenager laughing about it, I probably wished that was what it was all about. But also, for the record, bullshit. Yeah, this is just fucking nonsense. All of it. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. We can dance around this all we want and break this up into pieces, but let me just say the entire run of this video has been gibberish.
And I hope he does exactly what he says.
Okay, this is him going to commercial. The finger point is him letting the staff know that he's going to commercial. He is just yammering to get to the end of this. Just saying. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean. We see this all the time. This is him. You know how sometimes I have to tell Phil when we're coming to a break because there's a delay? There's no delay between fucking Glenn and the booth. As a matter of fact, they could set up a transition button for him that allows him on to cue his own break if he wanted to with a single touch of a button, because he's got all these screens and all this shit in front of him. He's just too lazy and lame to do it. He'd forget. Watch.
And I hope he does exactly what he says he's going to do.
See that? It's like that when I point, then when I finish the sentence, that means cut to the break. Ugh. Now, I feel like I know so much more about myself and the way I feel about things, the way you feel about things, the way, Glenn feels himself.
And who's coming and who's not coming and who knows what is coming and this type of things. And you know this.
Fade to Beck. Get out of here, John. That's hilarious. Let's see. Yeah, this will be okay. I'm totally out of time. We went way over with this. What the hell? Oh yeah, still no word from Dan Ball or as Booker or anybody like that. Just still nothing. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So that's it for our show today, because anything else would take me into another hour. And so tomorrow, I'm going to do my morning show at the regular time. Tomorrow's afternoon show will be late because I got to go to LA for Flappers. And so I will be doing the drive right after my show. So as soon as I'm done, if I can hop in my car and drive in there. And so it'll take me a moment once I get there to set up and be ready to do the show. So please forgive me if it's a little bit late in the afternoon. I'll remind everybody in the morning. But it's easier for me if I'm not doing the morning show and trying to contact Phil and any other guests that we have, outside of my home system, which works really well compared to everything else. So I will be, and instead of, getting up ass early and driving like an idiot, like I told you, I'm going to leave right after the show. So just letting you know. And so if I need to buy myself a little bit of time, if I'm an hour late tomorrow, that's why. And other than that, I adore you, and you're wonderful, and take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I will see you come the morn. And there was another thing too. Beware of the kidney. Yeah. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Even outside, it's packed.